Hey folks, my name is Anant Patel. I'm a senior product manager here at AWS AppFabric. Earlier today, we announced AppFabric's generative AI capabilities powered by Amazon Bedrock, which are aimed at helping users improve their productivity while using SaaS applications. We're going to dive into that topic a little bit more today. If my clicker works. This might be dead. No. There we go. Thank you. So in today's session, we're going to talk about the growth of SaaS and the impact it has on workplace collaboration. We'll do a brief overview about what is generative AI and some of the applications that it has in SaaS. Then we'll talk about how AppFabric and Amazon Bedrock are working together to help reimagine user productivity across SaaS apps. And finally, we actually have a functional demo that shows how AppFabric can use generative AI capabilities to help reimagine virtual meetings. So as we heard today, organizations are using over 100 applications to provide their employees with the best tool for the job. As organizations are embarking on their digital transformation journeys, they recognize that customizing and fortifying their application stack is key to unlocking their employees' best work. But the challenge here is that all these applications are disconnected and operate in their own data silos, which hampers our ability to create, manage, access, and share knowledge. Discovering pertinent information is also a challenge with the silos. Depending on our job function or industry, we all have preferred applications to get all of our tasks done. As a product manager, I may use Asana, engineers may prefer Jira, and your sales lead may prefer a CRM. Even then, all the work that we do today is largely cross-functional and requires us to use multiple applications to get work done. We spend 2 hours every day just trying to find information across our applications and context switching as well. Additionally, following up on simple things like a customer email often requires us to do multiple actions across multiple applications, such as creating, updating, summarizing, and evaluating content across messaging, email, and file storage apps. We switch apps far too much, and with just a finite amount of time in our workday, these types of mundane activities don't allow us to focus on more strategic or critical tasks, such as finding new innovations, finding ways to improve revenue, or finding ways to reduce costs. So how are organizations trying to tackle some of these problems? They're really turning to artificial intelligence today. As you can see from the survey up above, organizations want to invest in AI because they believe it's going to help them improve operational efficiency, increase innovation, and yes, improve employee productivity. Using AI historically has been super challenging though, as it requires customers to collect a lot of data, train a model for a specific task, and then fine-tune that model to desired performance. Infusing AI has become easier over time though, with the growth of fully managed AI services, including those from AWS. But as we all probably know now, the latest buzzword is around generative AI and how it makes it even easier to use AI than before, because it vastly reduces the time required to complete tasks and get things done. So let's talk a little bit more about what is generative AI and some of the applications it has in SaaS. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that allows users to create content and ideas, anything from music, code, literature, and images, all at the same quality as human-created content. Generative AI is powered by machine learning models, but these are very large models that are trained on vast amount of data and commonly referred to as foundational models. Generative AI is made possible due to the availability of scalable compute capacity, a mass proliferation of data, and rapid advancements in ML technologies. Whether generative AI allows you to summarize a multi-page report into a few paragraphs, or help you book your next flights and also create an itinerary for you for your next vacation, we're seeing the next wave of widespread ML adoption, and every single customer experience and application will be reimagined and customized using generative AI. In fact, Forbes already predicts that the generative AI market will hit $100 billion in the next 3 years. So let's talk about how generative AI can actually drive innovations inside SaaS applications to help our lives become easier. First is around collaboration. Foundational models can take all the data within an application. Let's say your Slack messages to your boss, Slack messaging channels, any file shared, and help extract out information without having to read every single message. And that's super powerful because we probably all have 50 unread messages at this moment right now. Being able to prioritize what you actually need to focus on is what generative AI can help enable. It can also help jumpstart content creation, whether that be for emails, presentations, designs, and more. And today we're often interacting with these AI agents using simple natural language query prompts, such as help me draft an email to my team to ask them what they want to talk about at the upcoming meeting. Generative AI can help draft an email, allows you to quickly edit that content and send that email in a matter of seconds compared to what we do today. Additionally, generative AI can help with automation and the way that we interact with our data and complete actions. Not only does it understand the intent of conversations and questions, but it also can identify what is a potential next best action based on those insights, and actually go as far as executing those workflows across multiple applications. Lastly, security and data privacy still remain one of the highest priorities of organizations, as CISOs and security teams are focused on trying to protect their organization from bad actors and data leaks. Generative AI can help investigate, summarize, and respond to SaaS security events in a matter of seconds by analyzing audit log data, which tells you all about user activity in that application and quickly summarizes what happened, who was involved, and what's the impact. In addition to that, it can also talk about guardrails. So based on that security event that happened, how do I protect myself from this happening again? Generative AI can help create new rules and new alerts that make sure that you can protect your organization from future risks. So as we think about how generative AI can help across all three of these categories, the key benefit that we all get from this is that we get the time back to focus on the most important tasks. So all of the things that I mentioned today, or just mentioned, actually are not future-looking. AWS partners such as Zoom, Asana, Slack, and more have already embraced generative AI, and they've built their own AI agents to help their users use their apps much more efficiently. But even in this world where every single application has their own generative AI, the core challenge still remains is that all of these applications will work in their own data silos. A user still has to go from application to application in order to extract out those insights. So the key thing that we need to think about is how do we make that more simple? And right now that requires building integrations to connect these applications so I can bring in data across all my applications that I use and be able to act on it more efficiently. But the challenge is that integrations are difficult to build and also manage long term. So what we have to start thinking about are ways to improve that. And with the launch of AWS AppFabric, our plan is to help eliminate the integration friction across SaaS applications. We're already thinking about improving productivity for security and IT teams today. Our observability features, which are now generally available, help customers aggregate and normalize SaaS audit log data into a standard schema, make it available into the security tool of their choice, and allows customers to help improve their observability across their application stack. But when we talk to customers, they actually want us to think about how do I improve the experiences for my other employees. AppFabric will help connect the content and context across an entire application stack and make it available to users in a very simple fashion. And on top of that, it'll actually help simplify the authorization layer to make sure that users can only see data that they're entitled to and only complete actions that they're entitled to as well. Now, when we think about actually bringing generative AI into SaaS applications, we partnered with Amazon Bedrock to provide the foundational models needed to power these innovations. Amazon Bedrock was announced by the AWS AIML org in April of this year. Bedrock is a new service that provides foundational models from Amazon and leading AI startups and makes it all accessible via an API. Because Bedrock is a fully managed service, customers don't need to manage the infrastructure required to train and deploy these foundational models. At AWS, our mission has always been to democratize AI for our customers by by providing AI technology to customers in the form of AWS services. And we're going to treat generative AI in the exact same manner. Because all these foundational models are new, they all have their own characteristics and strengths, and we believe that customers will need choice of model in order to successfully use generative AI long term. So how does AppFabric and Bedrock come together to provide ISVs and users with seamless cross-app experiences that help them boost collaboration as well as improve productivity? First, Bedrock functions as that fully managed infrastructure and provides access to those industry-leading foundational models. Next, AppFabric will function as a SaaS orchestration layer that helps ISVs build and embed generative AI capabilities directly into their ISVs or enrich existing AI agents with the content and context from different applications. When we combine both of these with AWS's high security bar, it allows us to actually provide a generative AI assistant that can surface the right information from across your application stack at the right time. For users and customers, this means they get the information they need at their fingertips to help them complete their task more efficiently without having to manage or jump from application to application. For our AWS partners, they can use AppFabric to help generate richer experiences that help them improve their user satisfaction and then ultimately lead to better retention. So let's talk about some of the core use cases that we're focused on in terms of our generative AI capabilities. The first one is around important insights. As I've just mentioned, we're going to take the content and context from across your applications, but we're going to proactively surface it directly into the application that you prefer to use, so that no matter what is happening, you can start to see what should I care about the most. On top of that, we'll also think about providing what is the next best action based on those insights, so you know how to best act once that information is given to you. So let's take a simple example that we probably have experienced before around a customer issue or customer escalation. I may wake up to an angry email from a customer. I may see some Slack messages that are created based on that email around what are we investigating, how do we plan to solve this problem? And you may see some Jira tickets that says, here's our plan to actually resolve this. Today, I have to go to all three of those applications in order to actually extract out what happened and how to best proceed, which is pretty manual work altogether. Where we want AppFabric to really add value here is help to simplify and automate that entire workflow. We want it to collectively look at the content in email, Slack, and Jira and evaluate and summarize in very simple insights what happened, what's our plan to resolve it, and by when. On top of that, the next best actions that we surface could be schedule time with the account manager to notify them of what's going on, or notify your leadership to make sure they're aware of the situation, or even draft an email back to the customer themselves based on those insights, so you can set the right expectations with the customer and respond as fast as possible. Overall, the important insights are aimed at helping users best orient their day so that they can focus on what matters most based on their calendar, their tasks, their priorities, and more. The second one is around cross-app workflows, where we want users to continue to stay in their preferred applications and execute actions in other applications. And really the goal of this is to help simplify cross-app workflows as well as accelerate cross-company knowledge sharing. For example, if I'm updating content in my application of choice, I may be able to use AppFabric to enable notifications across other applications or even go as far as syncing data or comment in other apps, all with the goal of ensuring that I have the best transparency to all my stakeholders. Additionally, AppFabric can take unstructured content like text and emails and convert it into structured elements in third-party applications, such as a Jira ticket or Asana task, and also go as far as pre-populating that information, so I no longer have to do manual tasks. It can tell me who the task owner is, what's the name of the task, the due date, and more. We also help simplify the orchestration across multiple different applications. If I'm having a conversation in Slack about a new prospective customer, AppFabric can help suggest, hey, create a new opportunity in your CRM to track this opportunity. Or you should also surface a pitch deck so you can customize it for that new customer and even schedule a meeting with the account manager to review that deck. Lastly, when we think about this growth of additional agents across all these different applications, we want to work alongside all of them. to enrich the data or enrich your responses with the data from other applications. For example, if I were to ask Asana's intelligence AI, what are the risks to my launch? By default, it's going to help surface some of the key risks based on the Asana projects, tasks, goals, and more. But where AppFabric can be super powerful is that we can supplement that information and surface additional risks that may be happening outside of Asana. So if you think about not only adding more risks to that response, but also having specific references to individual applications and the artifacts in those applications that helps users understand what's going on across their project. With the growth of generative AI, we're seeing a growing number of chatbot experiences in all of our applications. While that might be a super valid interface today, it's not going to be the only interface long term. So our vision is to help create an operating system where all of these AI agents can work and communicate more seamlessly together. Our mission is to focus on not only thinking about these LLMs or foundational models as APIs, but actual users. And on that principle, we imagine every single ISV agent can communicate with AppFabric to help complete complex tasks that are happening across multiple applications. To summarize, AppFabric can help generate information across all of your applications using generative AI. It can enrich insights, actions, content, and more. And all of that is anchored in a user's data, relationships, and context. So to bring this all together, I want to show a brief demo. You may have seen a little bit of a clip of this during the keynote, but I think playing the full demo will give you the full experience of what the power is and how AppFabric can support customers during virtual meetings. What I want you all to focus on is as conversations are happening, AppFabric will help surface relevant information from across multiple applications directly in the Zoom UI. Additionally, you'll see that AppFabric can help identify and generate Asana tasks directly from the Zoom UI as well, and allow users to execute and create those actions during the meeting in real time. So let's go ahead and play the video.
I'm excited about our upcoming widget product launch. Chris, can you give us an update from marketing on the product taglines we've been discussing?
Sure. The agency sent over product tagline proposals in a file last night, and there's some really great options in there. Has anyone had a chance to review it? We're going to need a decision by Friday, July 7th.
I haven't reviewed them yet, but I see that AppFabric found a file and some emails for me about the taglines here in the meeting. Are those showing for you too?
Yeah, it found it for me too.
I can see them on my end. If you want to go ahead and open that and take a look, I actually reviewed it before, and I like number 3 the best. Chris, can you review these taglines with our beta customer, Any Company Bank, before your deadline?
Sure, I can do that.
Thanks. Sina, do you want to give a product update next?
Yeah, we're working on finalizing the pricing model for launch, and we'll have a recommendation by next Wednesday's pricing review with leadership. Also, we have a meeting next Thursday with a new potential customer in the organization franchise. We have an initial draft of the pitch deck presentation done, but are still working on the demo.
That's awesome. Sina, let's actually have you do a dry run of the presentation in next week's meeting so we can provide some feedback.
Okay, that works for me.
Thanks, everyone. This has been a super productive meeting. AppFabric suggested a few dates. I'm actually going to modify the date slightly on this one, so the review is done before the deadline. And I'll send these to Asana.
Great. So I want to recap, I think, what we just saw in a few things. Well, first and foremost, this is actually a functional demo. We've actually created content, and we actually were able to surface this during a Zoom meeting. The 2 things that I want to call out is the relevant links up above. So as the conversation was happening about product taglines, you could see that Asana tasks were being surfaced, emails were being surfaced, as well as the file itself that they were referencing. In addition to that, we also saw the action items. Not only was it pre-populating the task owner, task name, due date, but also the notes section, which may be hard to see, but it actually captured a one-sentence summary that says, why was this action item actually created? And that provides a lot of useful context. If I'm going back to my Asana task 2 hours or 2 days later, I have a little bit of a reference as to why I should actually prioritize or care about this task. And the last thing is, as you saw additional conversations are happening, there's a refinement on all of those Asana tasks as well. The model is learning additional context and bringing that in to help refine the actual output of those Asana tasks. So it continues to learn as the conversations are happening. These are just a few examples of where the SaaS orchestration layer can truly shine. Long-term, we'll have additional apps, additional actions, and even more context to help improve the overall experience of workplace meetings, content creation, and more. But as we build additional applications, we have to think about our core tenets and think about how do we apply that to generative AI. So first and foremost, we continue to have this tenet around we want to meet users where they are today. We're not building a separate application that takes users out of their preferred application, but we want to work with AWS partners to build and embed these generative AI capabilities directly into their UI. Second is around security. And we have three core pillars underneath security. First is we don't store any customer data or content. Second is we won't also use that data to help retrain or refine any underlying foundational model. And last, when it comes to user permissions in terms of what data they can see and what actions they can perform, we use the ISVs themselves as a source of truth. And we've defined these really with the goal of maintaining the highest standards for data security and privacy and to help mitigate against any type of data leaks. Lastly, we're not going to use a single foundational model to power all of these innovations. Thanks to Bedrock, we have the flexibility to use multiple models if we want to, or it's quite simple to update an existing foundational model based on task, performance, or cost. With that, I want to thank you guys all for listening, and I hope you guys are inspired to start thinking about using SaaS and generative AI and using AppFabric to help build new experiences. Happy to take any questions you guys have.
Thank you for that, Anant. Yeah, if there's any questions in the room, go ahead and field.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Ronald with Relocation Online. We help businesses move their employees internationally, process a lot of data, but we have a multi-tenant SaaS environment. You talked about sort of crass app analysis of data. We're even concerned at a lower level to figure out how can we use AI to help our customers with better interface to explore their own data, but without polluting it with data that sits in this multi-tenant database. Can you speak to that a little bit and give some suggestions as to how that might be done if the models actually are smart enough to figure that out, that we can silo the data between customers?
So I think it's a great question, thank you. I think we're still thinking about that particular use case, but I think we want to work backwards from your type of customer problems and then see how we innovate further. We do have services such as AWS Clean Rooms that can help separate data in a couple different silos, which could allow us then to build insights based on how you want to segregate your data. So there are opportunities, I think, for us to explore, but at this point in time, we're still building our features out.
Quick, actually, follow-up question. You mentioned you don't store the data,
yeah,
but you do process it. So in data privacy language, sub-processors are always a thing. So how does this work? We get the model, we use it on our own data. It never leaves our building. Is that correct?
So what we do is actually during the authentication or the authorization process, we're actually crawling what type of data does that user have, but we're not actually storing it. We're getting embeddings of all that data. And as conversations are happening, specifically in the Zoom demo, we're basically taking the embeddings of your data as well as the conversation, we're feeding that into the model and returning back results.
Well, would you still be considered a processor touching our data?
Yes.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Awesome. Now I have a couple questions that came in from our virtual audience. One of them is, what models are you using in this generation?
Yeah, it's a great question. So like I mentioned, we're not going to use just one model to actually power these innovations. Because Bedrock will have access to multiple models, we'll have the capability to actually pick and choose based on the specific tasks. So we know, for instance, Anthropic may have work on text data, Stability AI, maybe images, and even their own Amazon Titan models can also help with that as well. So we're going to kind of customize and evolve. I think we're still a few steps into this kind of generative AI growth right now. We're a long ways away to actually seeing what it actually needs, but we believe that one model is not going to be the answer to help solve all of our customer needs long term.
And then kind of a follow-up to that, you just kind of mentioned a little bit. As Amazon Bedrock is in a limited preview now, what does that mean for how it's being utilized within AppFabric?
Yeah, that's a great question. So interesting enough, we've had LLMs being powered a lot of our applications today. So we have from the personalization in our retail space to even Alexa, some of those responses are actually powered by LLMs. So slowly but surely, we're starting to get more access to build new applications on top of Bedrock. But all the things that you saw in the actual demo itself, we're thinking about exploring and releasing later this year.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great seeing. It's kind of a companion piece in your Zoom meetings or your Chime meetings, being able to take notes for you, assign Asana tasks out. That was great. There's no more questions. Thank you, Manon. I appreciate you coming up here.
Cool.
Thank you very much.